Welcome back, guys, to Climax Combo. I'm Checkers.
And I'm Licious.
And today we are doing another deck analysis video, this time featuring Hololive 8 Standby. This build has been seeing a lot of success in Japan, and the new Hololive Volume 2 booster just came out in English, so it is a great opportunity. We're going to show you a rough list and some key cards, which can all be fine-tuned to your liking. But we're going to go over some key points about the build. And the deck is actually quite budget. It only has 2 double Rs in the list. So if you want to beat on your friends for cheap, this is a pretty good list to build. It's very good. Lose your friends for cheap. That's a good slogan for this one.
Which is rare in this game to have cheap, powerful decks.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. So here's a rough outline of the build. And the general game plan of this deck is, like we said, it's 8 standby. It's a control deck. You're going to be controlling the board with your very powerful creatures or characters you're going to be bringing out early with the standbys and with their own effects. This deck is more of a grimy build. You're going to want to kill your opponent slowly. Some of the characters in this deck, mainly the level 3 Luna, does force your opponent to front attack you, thus draining their resources, allowing you to attack directly, pushing for more damage. This deck does not use the climax combos to push for more damage. It uses them to gain advantage via hand size. So your main way of killing your opponent is by direct attacking and using small little effects to burn one throughout the game. The deck doesn't really need a lot of stock to pop off. It really mainly needs hand size, and that's why the climax combos are here to do that. So it's definitely a more slow-paced deck, more grimy, but this build should have the tools to survive and the tools to kill your opponent slowly but surely. So to start things off, we're going to go over the level 3 Lunas. If you aren't familiar with Hololive, all the Luna cards in the set are considered level 0s on the field, but they have a quote-unquote demerit. These Luna's demerits are they're level 0 on the field, but they cannot be side attacked, and they're extremely overstated. The first Luna, the new Luna, the 3/2 11k Luna, comes out early, heals you on play by discarding a card, but you break even because the heal goes to your hand. And she's 11k base, and she's 3 soul, which is kind of insane for an early drop. But the big part here is she can't be side attacked. The next Luna, the old 3/2 11/5 Luna, 2 soul, from the first booster is the quote-unquote boss monster. She has the same quote-unquote demerit where she's level 0, but she can't be side attacked. Her other 2 effects are also extremely powerful. She burns your opponent every time she kills something. Keep in mind that works on both players' turns, yours and your opponent's. And when she's front attacked, which she always has to be, you check the top, you can leave it there, put it into the waiting room. So it increases your survivability while forcing your opponent to attack, and you burn them on their own turn. So it's very scary. Keep in mind, these 2 cannot be side attacked, which is already very strong, but it also guarantees the very powerful Hachima Beam backup from the first set that we all know and hate. So once again, another reason why this deck is strong on defense.
To directly support the Luna, we do have... There's some typical stuff in here that other standby decks have, like 2k in front assist is also in the deck, but we also have access to the level 3 Azuki from the new set. There's a 1500 global. She doesn't have to be in the front row, which is great. You can bring her out in the back row, pump out all your Lunas in the front, and makes them really scary, but she has an additional effects to kind of support your opponent's characters getting reversed the whole time. You get an extra burn 1. You get a bit more survivability by milling the top of your deck if you need to. Overall, it adds to the consistency and is another great standby option for the Lunas. And the 2/1 Kanata, kind of in the same boat. This is something you can play on your turn to make use. It lets you control kind of what your opponents are attacking into. You can swap the Kanata with a Luna or the Azuki. You can swap them from even with your back row, depending on what you set up during your turn. So it actually disrupts your opponent's plan a ton and makes your board even more survivable and hard to deal with.
And you could do all of this fun stuff at level 2.
Yep. Standby is crazy.
Mm-hmm. And as you guys see with the level 3s, they don't need stock for their effects to go off. They just need hand size.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kanata, your opponent is teching level 0 Suiciders. It's not going to work with Kanata here to protect them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Can't even Adachi the Lunas because they're considered level 0. So
those things are too strong.
Only thing you can do is play 3 level 0 Suiciders. And then crash. So that's the main game plan of the deck. So we're going to go over the rest of the deck. It's mainly here to help make sure you're able to get this game plan off by level 2. And one of the ways to do so is with the 1-1 Polka Climax combo. It's pretty interesting in this deck because the Climax combo is only used in this build to grab the zeros. You're not going to be sending anything to memory, so you can only grab zeros. But the zeros are very good. So, and it's on play as soon as you play the Climax, so it's immediate. So it's really strong. Honestly, just here to get you more hand size, because as you see, that's all we need at level 2 to start killing our opponents. And she's decent 1-1-7-5, right? Like, why not?
Yeah. Keeps the power line high throughout the whole game. The other combo, Azuki, bit more versatile. You have to sack the Climax, so you can only get one, but that's enough. You get to search for a specific card, and it frees up your board to kind of put more standby characters onto the back row. And yeah, it's just really, it makes the deck very consistent. Anything you want to play your next turn, you can prepare it, you can get backups, the Hachima Beam, it's just whatever you need. A couple more really useful zeros. The only double R's in the build, but they are very strong. The Polka is works with any Climax. Both effects happen when you play a Climax. You can pay 1 and mill 4 and grab something to your hand. Adds pay 1 stock to get more hand is really useful. You can bounce it back to your hand to pump your characters, top check, and it frees up the back row. So if you use the Polka and the Azuki, they both go back to your hand and plus you, so it's pretty insane. You can use one or the other either. I mean, it just makes the build very versatile, and there's just a lot of utility in that card. On top of that, we have the Mio. The top check is nice. You can check 2, but you can also send them to your waiting room, which is great for if you see anything you want to stand by out, you can send your targets to the waiting room that way. And the search is nice. It can happen both on play and on when she's sent from stage to waiting room. So you have 2 chances to grab something if you need. Very strong level 0.
And these last 2 cards we'll go over are pretty interesting in this deck. The 2-1 Pequota is really cool in this build because she's a 1500 in front assist in front of her, which is pretty unique in this game, but also has great synergy with the Lunas because they're considered zeros on the field. So a standard level assist or plus 2k level 3 assist won't work with her. So great synergy with the Lunas, but also great synergies with the 1-1s, make them 9k. Very difficult for many decks to get over. The other 2 effects are just flavor text in this deck. We're not going to be using them at all. And lastly, the 0-0 Towa makes your Lunas and any of your cards on the field all that much more stickier and difficult to deal with. Plus 1500 power and hand encore to the end of your opponent's next turn. It's just like the icing on the cake. Like you thought these were hard to get rid of. Now it's like impossible. Also good for the mirror match. So it's good stuff.
That about wraps up all the key cards that we think give the deck a lot of power. This last section is just kind of give you an idea of paint a picture of how the deck really looks on the field. The power that this deck can hit is very strong. It's running 8 standby, so of course it can cheat out a lot of high value stuff. Level 0. The level 0 cards are mostly utility, so they're very weak. So if you want, you can add stronger level zeros to make it a bit more well-rounded, but you always have the option to standby 1/1s. You do run the IMF in the first set on top of the 1/1 polka, so you do have a lot of 7/5 options, making your level 0 game actually pretty strong if you draw into those climaxes early. Level 1 is pretty typical, 7/5, and then you standby out the Pekoras to bring them to 9k, which is very hard to deal with unless you're running like level 2s that come out early, 10k, which not too common these days, to be honest. And level 2 is where it gets really juicy. You bring out the Lunas, 11,500 base, and very easy. You just need to stand by one other thing. You get 2k in front or the 1500 global. They start to hit some pretty insane numbers. You have access to the Hachima beam. You get a bunch of stock for being standby, so your deck gets really hard to kill and deal damage. Level 2 is just the turning point where you really like start to cement the win. Level 3 is more the same, so still really high numbers. I mean, what other deck is going to be hitting these numbers? That's why this deck's strong. But yeah, overall, the deck is very consistent due to the combos and the level zeros. They make it very versatile to pull off your game plan. The million power is actually kind of high. You get extra milling from the polka if you need to. A lot of your level zeros have milling on top of their normal effects. You can always add more too. The only low part of this build is the lethality. You have a couple ping ones here and there, a bit more opportunities to direct attack, but overall it's not like you're dealing 3 damage on top of swinging in. So you don't do a whole lot of extra damage, but it is a slow game and you can grind out your opponent, so it's not really that important for your game plan.
We put it as low because it's not gonna
do extra.
Yeah, it's not gonna do like 8 attacks or like 2-2-1-1, 2-2-1-1, whatever. But it's like low key, kind of medium to high, because like your opponent's gonna be so dry on resources. What are they gonna do? How do you compress when you gotta ram your whole board every turn? You know?
Yeah,
it's hard. If your deck can't keep up in resources with this build, it's lights out.
Yeah.
Overall, really, really cool deck.
Yeah, sounds great.
Lose your friends for cheap. That's the name of this deck. So, if you guys like this video, guys, let us know. If you guys want to see more Hololive or any other deck analysis for any, I guess, Japanese deck that's out in Japan, then let us know.
Yeah.
And then we'll consider doing it. But overall, we think this is it's very strong and it's actually pretty unique. Very unique standby deck. So I hate it, but it's cool.
Yeah. Catch you guys next time.
Peace.